Anyway, afterwards I was searching Google for all the Easter eggs in each movie because Pixar always leaves references to their other movies in their current movies, and I love finding them, and I came across something even better. Before we begin, let me just say that I did not come up with this theory. A guy, genius named Jon Negroni did. I am just passing it along because it is awesome.
Today we're talking about one of the biggest theories in animation, the Pixar Theory. If you know anything about the Pixar Theory, you know it's complex. You know it could be true, you know maybe may not be true, but we're going to talk about it. We're going to give a quick recap on what it is and how everything fits together. So without further ado, let's get right into it. What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Yo Nerd, the podcast where we talk about nerd culture news, share opinions, and debate on pretty much anything. I'm Jase.
I'm Zion.
I'm Noah.
All right, y'all. The Pixar Theory. The main idea of the Pixar Theory is that every Pixar movie exists in the same universe. It's just spanned out across one giant timeline. So, first of all, shout out to Jon Negroni for introducing this theory to the internet, to the world. And also quick shout out to Super Carlin Brothers on YouTube. So I'm going to give a quick summary of what the Pixar Theory is and essentially how it works. But if you want the full breakdown with all of the Easter eggs, all that good stuff, go check out Super Carlin Brothers on YouTube, and they do a whole breakdown of everything. And before we get into it, I'm going to be going based on the chronological order of the timeline rather than when the movies actually came out themselves. So it starts obviously in the prehistoric era with the good dinosaur. So in this alternate history, the asteroid that wipes out the dinosaurs misses Earth, and then we see that dinosaurs evolve into intelligent beings. Some of them develop farming skills, speech, things like that. And we're going to get into how animals fit into this a little bit later. But until then, next we have Brave, the ancient times going now into the Middle Ages. Brave introduces magic, which transforms people into animals. And another really important aspect of Brave is the witch, which disappears through doors, hinting at a connection that we'll talk about later as well. Okay, now speaking of animals, the witch, turns people into animals. We're going to talk about the rise of intelligent animals. So there's a lot of different movies that, have intelligent animals. I'll touch on a couple, one being Finding Nemo. Obviously, fish are capable of problem solving, traveling across the ocean to, find a lost other fish. And then Ratatouille, able to control human being, able to understand human beings, things like that. I won't touch on that too much. Next thing we're going to get into is the rise of superheroes, but more importantly, the rise of AI. So we see in The Incredibles, obviously there's superheroes, but AI technology is developed by Syndrome. We see that in the robot that he creates that learns as it exists and learns to fight, learns to essentially be better than humans. Now we're going to go into the corporate takeover to go along with that AI rebellion. So, in Up, came out in 2009, we see a company called By and Large. That is going to be a really big part of the Pixar Theory. By and Large, otherwise known as BNL, is becoming a major corporate entity. And then along with that, environmental destruction begins as nature struggles against human expansion and technological expansion, things like that. And that brings us to WALL-E. So now with WALL-E, the Earth is abandoned due to pollution and waste. And then WALL-E is one of the last robots maintaining the planet. And now after WALL-E, later, far down the timeline, we have Cars. Okay, so Cars exist as sort of personified human beings because of the AI and machine takeover after the humans leave the Earth. Obviously, the Earth was uninhabitable. That's where WALL-E comes from. And then later on, we see Cars.
Wait. Hold on. No. Hold up.
Go ahead.
So the Cars exist in the period after the Earth is abandoned?
Yes.
But before they return?
No, this is after the return. We'll touch on that. Basically,
okay,
the Earth wasn't like, yes, they had that one plant life. They had that plant life, but obviously that's one plant. It wasn't sustainable for human life to continue, period. So yes, the humans come back from WALL-E, but it's very brief.
Okay.
All right, moving on. I know that was a lot to track, but this is where it gets interesting, and this is where everything ties together. Okay.
Hmm.
So after Cars, we have the evolution of monsters. Okay. Monsters, like you see in Monsters Inc. and Monsters University, have evolved from animals due to mutations and radiation. From all of the waste that we see in Wall-E, it's uninhabitable for humans. But they eventually mutate from, all that waste, all that radiation. And here's where it is. The doors that the monsters use to gather scream energy, laugh energy, whatever it is, are actually doors used to travel back in time as opposed to travel to an alternate dimension. Okay? And on top of that, Boo from Monsters Inc., to tie it all together, is actually the witch from Brave. So stay with me. Boo learns to travel through the doors to different time periods because she's on a constant search for Sully, the monster that left her when she was just a little girl. So she becomes the witch in Brave, and she leaves clues for us, such as the carving of Sully in her shop, which we'll throw up on the screen right here. But that essentially completes the loop. The Pixar, let me summarize it real quick. The Pixar theory is essentially a loop where magic leads to intelligence in in animals and machines, and then AI overtakes humans, forcing evolution, and then monsters learn how to manipulate time and harness human energy, and then Boo learns to manipulate that time, use those doors as well. That ties everything together. I know that was a lot, but let's talk about it. Zion, you seem confused. You seem skeptical.
I am skeptical. So I knew that a Pixar theory existed. It's been something that in my mind I've known is out there, but I've never looked into it.
Mm-hmm.
I have some thoughts though. I have
Yeah,
some questions. And Jace, I know you're a firm believer
I'm
in the
100%
Pixar
believer
theory.
in this.
I'm skeptical right now because, all right, first off, it doesn't account for the other movies, which we could probably fit in there
Oh yeah,
for
100%.
sure. I know these are kind of the core movies. Here's my thing.
Mm-hmm.
The one movie that breaks it for me is Cars.
Okay.
I can't,
Let's talk
'cause I'm
about it.
like,
Let's talk about it.
all right. So here's what doesn't make sense to me. Sure, it makes sense that, AI machines and all that would overtake the humans, be able to survive on the earth if it's uninhabitable. But the earth as we see it in Cars is pretty normal earth.
Mm-hmm.
There is plants, there is normal construction and society and everything like that. That's why I'm confused.
All right. So obviously we have to take into account that this is still like movie. Like there's gonna be things that are made up. Like obviously there's talking cars, talking animals,
Mm-hmm.
right? So yeah, they could have a society. But the one thing that we don't know is how long they've taken to make that society. And what I will say about cars, obviously they're talking cars. What the Pixar theory says is that they gain their consciousness, they gain their like sort of personalities from their past owners. For example, one of the notable Easter eggs that I have on here is we actually see Doc Hudson in the Incredibles movie. We see him when Mr. Incredible is fighting the robot towards the end of the movie in the city, and we'll throw it up on the screen here as well, a picture. But Doc Hudson is actually one of the cars parked on the side of the road in that scene. So we know that, a car like him existed. Obviously, we don't know who the owner is or anything like that, but we know that that car exists and it's in the same universe. But who's not to say that, thousands of years later, he didn't, take on the personality of his owner, and all these other cars didn't take on their owner's personalities.
I'm not convinced, but maybe I could be convinced. I don't know, Noah.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
What
Noah,
are
are
your
you?
thoughts
I'm
on
a
Pixar
complete
theory?
believer in this theory. It makes
Oh my
complete sense,
Yep.
bro. Everything ties together.
I'm telling you, literally everything makes sense. Everything makes sense.
You're on your own with
No,
that,
no,
bud.
no. It doesn't make sense. It does
What?
not make sense.
So you're telling me? Okay. Listen.
All right,
So you're
no,
telling me?
no. I'll break it down.
Yeah, all right. You go.
Humans return in Wall-E.
Yes,
I
they
get
do.
it. It's a small amount of humans on the Earth. They return, and then robots still take over post that. Where are the humans?
They
No,
probably died out.
they died off way before
Also,
they
think
could
about
do
how
anything about it.
advanced their technology was in those spaceships. If they implemented any of that into the Earth,
They're gone.
AI stuff would come on, it all makes sense.
So you're saying the humans died, then cars took over?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought just the humans returned and then the cars started to
No.
make
The
a
cars
world.
was way later, like after the
Yeah,
humans.
I
After the
see.
humans died off.
Humans
But
died.
then
The AI continues to develop.
here's the
Cars
part
are
that
still
doesn't make
there.
sense though.
Hmm.
Apparently, life can exist, but then post cars, animals turn into monsters.
Hmm.
Am I getting that right? But I
Yes,
thought life couldn't
100%.
exist.
No, it's not. No, life. It's not that life can't exist.
And where did all the cars go?
That
Where are the
they have
cars
cars.
then?
They don't have cars in Monsters Inc.
They
Monsters
just took away their
University.
sense. No, they do, but their sentience is gone.
Y- okay. All right. So listen.
No, don't do it to me, Jason.
Listen. Monsters. Listen. Monsters evolve from humans, right? Meaning that they're better than humans. They're more advanced than humans.
From what? The humans were dead. No, okay.
No, you're taking into account these are monsters. They're taking it's from radiation, severe radiation. Like obviously they're not going to just come straight from humans. And this happened over a long period of time. Monsters are coming from humans, but there's obviously severe mutation in radiation. Like it's not natural. Obviously the humans were dead. Maybe they came back, but you know what I'm saying? Like the monsters came from what remained of the humans, if that makes sense. Like obviously there's got to be some leeway. They're not going to just exactly point out what happened to the humans.
Oh, for sure.
And how they turned into monsters. But you gotta admit, like if you give it that much, like it makes sense coming from all the radiation that was in the wasteland that we see in Wall-E, all that.
Listen, I get it. That does make sense. I'm just saying, I was told that the humans died off.
They did.
Now, if there was a different theory where maybe the cars enslaved humanity, what remained of it, and then over that period of time, then humans turn into monsters. That may be a little dark. I don't know.
That'd be crazy.
But we never saw a zoo in the Cars movies.
Never saw it.
They could have done a little reverse situation. I don't know. I'm just
Would the
saying.
theory make more sense to you if cars happened right after the humans left on Wall-E?
A little bit, yes.
And then maybe when the humans came back, the radiation just maybe those are the humans. They just turned to monsters from the radiation.
Maybe it did happen that way. I honestly, the Pixar theory has been updated. I haven't seen like the most updated version. Maybe it did happen that way, but who knows?
That would make a little more sense to me, because then you could say, okay, the cars were around for all that time. They made their own society, but then, you know, maybe they had a similar history to where we're at now. Then they had just a huge world war, and then everything was destroyed, and then the humans returned. I don't know.
But apart from that, the whole Boo being the witch thing makes sense. Yes, that's like the most clear-cut thing in this entire theory, because there's 2-3 components that make this possible. One, obviously, being the Sully carving in Brave, in like the witch's den or whatever.
Okay.
2, the doors. She uses doors to like we see in Brave, she uses doors to disappear from, to change her lair, to do all that. Like Boo, 1, obviously she was with Sully, so that accounts for the Sully carving, and 2, the doors. Like Boo was really little when Sully left her through a door. Randall would come through her door. Like obviously she knows something is up with that. So that makes sense to you.
It does make sense.
Okay.
I could give it that. I don't know if I necessarily like it, but I could give it a, maybe.
All right. Another notable Easter egg coming from the same Monsters Inc. sort of deal. So, in Monsters Inc., we see the kids. They always draw, their version or their depiction of like the monsters that come scare them, like Boo drew Randall, right? And we saw sort of how she drew that. In Inside Out, Riley, when she was a little kid, drew a very similar picture, similar style, and except it wasn't Randall, it was Bing Bong. And if you'll remember at the end of Monsters Inc., instead of using scream energy, they used laugh energy. Mike went in to make that kid laugh. Riley draws the exact same picture as Bing Bong, as Boo drew of Randall, except it was Bing Bong. That was her monster. It was the same timeline. Riley was a human over here. Bing Bong was a monster working at the factory over here. I'm telling you.
All right. I can see.
All right.
All right. That's potential. Okay, I get it. Now, I do have some challenges for you guys here.
Yeah.
I know you don't know the most current Pixar theory, but I'm going to challenge you two, since you are firm believers, to tell me how some of these movies fit. Now, a lot of them you could easily squeeze in. Inside Out, it's during the period of humans. The same with Coco, Luca, all that.
Speaking of Coco, real quick, there was an Easter egg. First of all, there was a Pizza Planet truck driving by on one of the scenes. And secondly, there were stuffed animals of, I think it was Buzz, Woody, and there was like a pinata looking thing of Mike Wazowski.
The Pizza Planet truck is almost in every single Pixar movie, if y'all didn't know. It's literally almost in every single one. It's crazy. Even like Good Dinosaur, it's in there at some point. I can't remember.
That's hilarious.
But I'm like, how do they fit the Pizza Planet truck into the Good Dinosaur? Exactly. I don't know.
That's awesome. Okay, so there's two movies here that I could see really throwing a wrench into this whole thing.
Okay.
And that's Onward and Elemental.
Okay.
Have you watched Elemental?
I have watched most of it.
I haven't watched it.
I've watched most of it, but they are like kind of in a different world. It's not Earth. It's sort of like a Zootopia situation, but with elements. So
I mean, as far as Onward goes, it's that whole thing of like how magic influences the world. Like it was introduced in Brave. I'm not sure where it would fit on the timeline. Like I haven't seen the updated version, like you said, but obviously, like magic influences everything in the Pixar theory, and that's just another showing of how magic influences. Because that whole movie is based around magic, and how the lack of it or the lack of use of magic makes people, become normal, like it was humans. So maybe it took place in a time where magic was rampant after Brave, but in between like the humans, where we see like Toy Story and Inside Out and all of the normal stuff. But who knows? And then what was the other one that you said?
Elemental.
Yeah, that I haven't even seen, so I can't really. But
I am trying to think of when those would fit in the timeline.
Because are those like
you could technically do Elemental in the same vein, in the same time period of Monsters Inc. And they are just different forms of mutations of humanity. Maybe have some monsters. Maybe they're still monsters, but they just have more elemental properties to them.
Maybe. Yeah.
Onward, that's a tough one. I don't know.
Onward, I mean, yeah. I honestly,
all of society is like mythological creatures.
Right. Yeah.
So I don't
Maybe
know.
they're actually a different dimension. No, I'm just kidding. All the same timeline.
It's a
All
different
the same
dimension.
timeline.
Oh my gosh, that is pretty
Hey,
funny.
it's a little believable though. You gotta admit. Gotta admit. Like there's just too many coincidences. There's too many coincidences for
Hmm.
it to just be like random.
I
Like I,
got you. I got you.
I don't know,
Now
man.
we didn't do this. We didn't do this at the front, but what's your guys' favorite Pixar movie?
Um.
And we're all
mm,
huge fans of Pixar.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
one of the greatest animated studios ever. I'd probably go between Ratatouille as like my favorite of the Pixar movies, but then Monsters Inc. has a soft spot in my heart because that was like my childhood movie. So I
Yeah.
go between those two.
Yeah. I go between Monsters Inc. or The Incredibles. Incredibles probably takes it for me, but Monsters
Yeah,
Inc. is right there.
yeah.
Mine is Cars. That was my childhood movie. But also, Monster University clears Monsters Inc. and it's not even close.
Nah, it low key. It's Monsters Inc.
It's so much better. It's
Monsters
nostalgia,
Inc.
and
is
I'm fine with you
nostalgic.
guys having it over it. But if we're being objective, that movie
Monsters
clears.
University is so good.
I'm not gonna lie. Part of me wants to put Monsters University ahead of Monsters Inc.
Yeah.
I can't based on the principle of it being the classic,
Right.
but I love Monsters University.
I love Monsters University. Like if I'm choosing to watch one of them, I'm probably gonna put on Monsters University.
Yeah, it's true.
But
Oh, so many hits though. So
I
many
know.
hits. Which is why the Pixar theory is a lot of fun.
Yeah. It's I don't know how somebody just like sitting in his room, Jon Negroni, was he just sitting there and just thought, wait, like he just started connecting the dots? Like there's no way. There's no
Dude.
way.
Yeah, it's amazing. So
But
Noah,
anyway,
you stand on fully believing it.
Yes.
Obviously, Jace, you're in it.
yep.
I'd say I'm like 60% there right now.
I guarantee you, if you go watch the updated video, it's a little bit long. It's a little bit long, the updated one. I think it's like 45 minutes. But if you go watch that, you'll be in it 100%. Because obviously I gave like the quick summary, and I'm not an expert on it. But this guy that explains it, Super Carlin Brothers on YouTube, I was a believer in the first 10 minutes of the video. It was crazy.
I'm gonna, you know what? I'm gonna look it up. I'm gonna watch it, and then I'll let you guys know how I feel about it.
Yes,
Because
sir.
I need to see all of it. That was obviously like the initial years of Pixar. I need all of it right now.
Yeah.
I need to know where everything's at. But I'm not shutting it down all the way. There's some questions I have, but I'm open.
The
You've
main
opened my
one,
eyes.
the main questions for you are what? Cars, Onward, and Elemental. I don't even know. He needs to update it because I don't even think it's come out since like Elemental.
Dang.
But yeah,
Well, I don't think there's been a Pixar movie since then, has there? Just Inside Out 2, and that wouldn't really impact the timeline, I don't think.
nah, because it came out after Inside Out.
Yeah.
Yeah, has there? I don't know.
I guess the other one was Lightyear, but
That was a movie inside of Toy Story. That doesn't count.
yeah, so you're fine there too. But I'm
Crazy
down to
stuff.
try. You opened
You
my
should.
eyes. I will say you did a great job explaining. I'm open. We'll see.
All right, y'all. Like always, we appreciate you guys watching our videos, interacting with us. It means a lot. While you're at it, go follow us on our TikTok and Instagram. You'll find all of our funny clips there from episodes like these. And until then, we'll see you guys next time.